We watched for weeks as a tournament took place, and tonight the finals will crown the first ever AEW Tag Team Champions. The Lucha Brothers, Pentagon, and Phoenix battle SCU to crown the first ever All Elite Wrestling Tag Team Champions. And a lot of people always asked me, in a very negative way, why Chris Jericho is the AEW World Heavyweight Champion at 48 years old. Why don't we make fun of AEW for doing the same thing that WWE has done? Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight proved that fact even furthermore. Why Chris Jericho is and should be the AEW World Champion, as he and Cody Rhodes had the best contract signing for a World Championship match in all of professional wrestling in 2019. Oh, it's going to be explosive tonight, man. Right here for AEW Dynamite on Off the Script.
Delete this man.
Man, I said it once, and I'm going to say it again. I don't believe I have to repeat myself. And now, as a fan of this show, I don't want to say that they are doing bad, because they're not. AEW has produced quality television 5 straight weeks, and that's all we've wanted. But man, if the same mistakes keep happening over and over and over again, I'm going to continue bringing them up over and over and over again. I know I think a little bit differently than everybody else. I am very pro wrestling related. When I see something built up over weeks, and we get to an end, and we see a conclusion to, for example, a tournament, I don't want to feel like we've gotten to the end and then we have to rush through it because AEW has shitty time management. And that's exactly what I felt at the end of this show. I loved this episode of Dynamite. I wanted more from the main event. The simple fact that you're crowning, for the first time ever in your company, Tag Team Champions, and we rush through a match that realistically should have been given 20 minutes plus for that specific honor. First ever AEW Tag Team Champions, and you rush through it in about 10 minutes with a commercial break. I can't sit here and justify that, man. I'm sorry. I can't sit here and say, man, this was the best tournament all year. I honestly feel disappointed that we didn't get more out of that title match, and I feel disappointed that AEW, for what now seems to be 5 straight weeks, doesn't know how to manage their time. There has to be something in this show that you could hold off on and not include so that you don't take away from a moment like that. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to let that one little instance ruin what I thought was a fantastic episode of Dynamite tonight. A lot of good on this show, and we're going to go over it all right here on the podcast, man. What a show. I love the fact that AEW has done what I have critiqued them on in the past several weeks. Instead of match after match after match after match, we now have promos, we now have video packages, we now have contract signings. Now, it was going to take time to build up to those things because not every week can you do a promo in the ring and have it really mean something, or a contract signing for a big match like Cody and Jericho. But tonight was the culmination of all of our waiting. I love the fact that they integrated all this stuff into the show. The flow of the show tonight was so much better than it has been, and I hope to see that moving forward as we go on into the winter months. A lot of positive on this show. I'm going to give my thoughts on Jericho and Cody in what I thought was the best contract signing for a championship match in professional wrestling all year. I hope WWE is taking lessons. I hope they're taking notes. That's how you do it. And we're also going to touch on the cretins on social media who I still see scattered about asking why AEW has Jericho with his dad bod as the AEW World Champion tonight should have shut everybody up. Because I don't see the champ over on Monday Night Raw doing what Jericho did. I don't see any other champion in WWE doing what Jericho is doing. And you know what? Jericho is cool. Why don't we get that fucking hashtag trending? We're going to go over that. Also, the Tag Team Championship match to crown the first ever AEW Tag Team Champions. And we got a great six-man tag with the Elites and Kip Sabian and Jack Evans with Angelico. Awesome stuff tonight. We're going to go over it all, and thank you guys so much for joining me on the podcast. I am JD. If you're not following me on social media, please follow me on Twitter at JD206. That is on Instagram as well, same at. Make sure you guys are following me on both. Twitter is the most important, obviously, because not only do you get to live tweet with me, but you guys get to interact every single day, keep up to date on the channel, and you are notified every time I upload a video right here on the channel. Twitter is your best friend when it comes to your favorite content creator. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below as well. Become a part of the family here. We are dangerously close to 114,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so very much. That is your goal. That is your goal. Not only to hit the thumbs up on the video, but let's get this channel to 114,000 subscribers before we get to full gear next weekend, man. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below if you guys want the best in the community when it comes to pro wrestling right here on YouTube. And most importantly, make sure you guys check out the description. Everything you might have missed on the channel as far as uploads go, I got you covered, man. Don't worry. Check the links down below. Off the Script, Monday Night Raw, Off the Script Elite, right down below. AEW News and Rumors, it is all there. And we have so much more yet to come this week as well with tonight, NXT, Crown Fools. It's going to be a busy week, man, so make sure you guys are up to date and quickly check out all that other stuff that you might have missed. Tonight's podcast is brought to you by my fine friends over at Audible. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Make sure you guys sign up, go through the sign-up process, and if you guys want to support the show and get something for free while listening to the show tonight, you guys can certainly sign up. Audible's giving you guys 30 days free of their service and one free audiobook of your choice. Make sure you guys do that. It's a great way to support Audible. It's a great way to support me and the podcast. Best part is, once you guys sign up, you're not going to be billed. And once you guys sign up and you get your audiobook, and if you feel like, you know what, Audible's not for me, I just wanted to sign up and support JD, you guys can cancel anytime in that 30 days and still get to keep your audiobook for free. You have over 200,000 choices to choose from, a lot of which are wrestling related. You guys can pick anything you want out of their vast selection of books. Cancel anytime in that 30 days, still get to keep your audiobook for free. Sounds like a great deal to me, man. audibletrial.com/offthescript. AEW Dynamite on this Halloween Eve started off with Tony Schiavone at the airport, waiting to pick up Cody Rhodes from the airport. He was there hyping the contract signing between Cody and the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Chris Jericho, which will take place at Full Gear. Dustin Rhodes and Cody come out of the airplane. Dustin's there hugging his brother, telling him how much he loves him and how he's going to support him through all this with Chris Jericho. And then they both shake hands with Tony Schiavone. Schiavone and Cody then get into a limousine together and they ride together to the contract signing in the same limousine. Now, we go from that and we go to a recap of last week's Dynamite, which ended because of shitty time management from AEW. Now, what happened last week, if you guys did not go out there and seek it, I know for shits and giggles, AEW aired Dynamite on TNT the same night that Smackdown was failing on FS1. So, I know if you guys watched last week's show, you're wondering what happened with the time limit draw. You heard the news, you heard the rumors. Kenny Omega came out to have a face-to-face with Jon Moxley, and then Adam Hangman Page challenged Pac to a match at Full Gear. You guys missed that last week. They went over that this week in the open of this week's Dynamite. And I gotta tell you, man, I loved everything about this open. I loved the Cody segment with him coming out of the airplane with Dustin and with Tony Schiavone just being there, getting in the limousine. It reeked. It just reminded me what I love about professional wrestling. It reeked of good old classic fashion, just professional wrestling, WCW style, man. I love it. I love it. Not only does it make the entire segment and the match feel big and important, but it puts a spotlight on Cody that this is the biggest match in his career. Because he's never held a major world championship outside of maybe the Ring of Honor World Championship, if you even consider that a major world championship. This is the biggest match of his life for the biggest title that he's ever competed for. And that entire segment really made it feel that way. And then we go from that to this, which we didn't see, and it just put a little bit more emphasis on how important this match is to not only Kenny Omega, but Jon Moxley. And the redemption that Adam Page is looking for against Pac. Not only against Pac, but just to get back into the thick of things in the AEW main event scene. So we've seen a recap of Jon Moxley and Pac going to a time limit draw. After the show, Pac put a chair around Moxley's neck and looked to finish him off after that match last week. And Kenny Omega made the save on Jon Moxley. Pac then bumped into Adam Hangman Page, who was on the ramp, and he let Pac know that they will meet at Full Gear. I am not coming out here to kindly ask for a match. I am demanding a match with you at Full Gear. So that match is set. So we see, after all of this is over with Moxley and the chair and Omega, we see Moxley go to the back and walk into Tony Khan's office backstage. And this is the first time that we've seen Tony Khan, or some aspect of Tony Khan, who owns AEW, on the actual show. Now, I do not think that this is leading to Tony Khan being an on-air character for AEW, but we did hear his voice, and we did hear him lay down the law with Jon Moxley. No creative decision is made without Tony Khan. He is the end-all be-all. He is the Vince McMahon of AEW. So, Moxley obviously angry, not only for the time limit draw, but for, obviously, Kenny Omega doing what he did last week. Goes into talks with Tony Khan and says his match against Omega is going to be an unsanctioned lights-out match, so it won't count towards the win-loss for either man. Now, Moxley is really mad that this match won't count. That's what he wants. He wants the loss that he feels Omega has coming to him to count. Despite him being the top guy in AEW, you know, Omega has already lost, and now they're putting him in a position to not really take a loss here to Jon Moxley. Now, Moxley said, I came here from, you know, the other place, and I went right after your top guy. Moxley says Khan just doesn't want him to get a win over, quote-unquote, his boy. Moxley says whatever happened to Omega at Full Gear now is going to rest on your shoulders. And that's exactly what Moxley said. Now, how do I feel about this lights out unsanctioned match? I can't wait for the match. The match is finally happening after the staph infection that Moxley had that I'm glad right now is completely gone. And we're finally getting this match. I think both guys are going to kill it. I do have to admit, I think a lights out unsanctioned stipulation here is an easy cop-out for AEW management because clearly they are going to slow build Kenny Omega into that World Championship title picture. He is going to be the World Champion come WrestleMania. That is my prediction. They're slow building him, so they want to keep him at a level where he's not taking too many losses because he started off in AEW, doing the job. Obviously, Moxley's the new guy. Can't have Moxley come on in and in his first major feud lose, because look at the way that they've built him up so far at AEW. He's a badass. Moxley has looked unbelievable compared to the last 6 years that we've seen him in WWE. He was treated like shit in WWE, and we'll go over that a little bit later because Moxley was actually on the show in the ring cutting a promo in front of the live TV audience. This is an easy cop-out for AEW. And to be quite honest and fair with you guys, it's kind of lame. I want to see a win, and I want to see a loss. I want to see someone win in this thing, and I want to see someone lose. But having this match happen and then AEW saying, oh, it's not going to count, it's kind of stupid. Because this is what we came for. We came to see who is the best of the best. It's going to be one winner and there's going to be one loser. Now AEW is telling us, oh, it's unsanctioned. I can't sanction this match for whatever reason. Nothing's really gotten out of control since the table spot where Moxley DDT'd Omega through the glass table. Nothing's been that crazy. So I don't know, man. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I just think that they are protecting them to a point where it's just too much. And I really want to see someone win and someone lose. I don't know how to think about it. I think it's kind of lame. Sammy Guevara versus Adam Hangman Page started Dynamite in the ring tonight. Let's go Hangman chants, really loud ones. He was incredibly over. In West Virginia was Hangman. Now there is a rumor going around that he could possibly be turning heel. Now I have not watched it yet, but I heard the commentary team mention the particular episode, being the Elite episode, where Cody asked Hangman if he was okay with everything that's gone on. And Hangman didn't really do a good job of convincing Cody that everything was okay. Now, clearly I don't know when or if this is even happening, but a lot of people in the community have offered their opinion as far as Hangman Page goes, and a heel turn might be in order to eventually get him to that babyface run and that babyface feel that we all know kind of resides in Adam Hangman Page. So I don't know if that's ever going to happen, or at least right now, not going to happen, but I do think that it is eventually going to happen for Adam Page, but who the hell knows, man? It's got to be the right time, it's got to be the right situation to do that. You just can't do it for the sake of doing it, because if you do it for the sake of just doing it, then you're admitting that Adam Hangman Page is somewhat of a failure. And the run for him and all the investment in him was wasted. So you have to pick your spots. It's got to mean something. If you're going to take someone like that is pretty popular among that type of audience, you got to make it matter. You just can't do it for the sake of doing it. But it actually might be the right decision. Hangman was in control early. First big move of the match was a devastating big boot by Page. Sammy had control of a headlock early on. Page went for a suplex. Sammy flipped out, shoved Page off the ropes, and then Sammy did a leapfrog while he was not looking. So he looked from behind, leapfrog, and into a dropkick by Sammy. So that was a very nice sequence by Sammy Guevara. Page regains control when Sammy comes off the top rope for a crossbody, and Hangman catches him and delivers a beautiful fallaway slam, then a clothesline. Over the top rope to the outside goes Sammy. Page followed, and as soon as Page got to the apron on the outside, Sammy tripped up Page, and he fell back first on the apron, and it looked, I'm not sure if it actually happened, but it looked, and I know Excalibur mentioned it as well, when he was tripped up on the apron, it was like a one fluid motion where his back and then his head hit the back of the apron. It looked nasty. Now, I don't know if his head actually connected with the apron, but I know his back did, because we all heard it. So that was a pretty sick spot there by Sammy Guevara to take advantage of Adam Hangman Page. Sammy then Irish whipped Page into the steel barricade on the outside, took full control, for a little bit at least, of this match. Sammy comes off teasing a big high-risk move, and he's a heel. And he's playing up to the fact that he is a heel. Why is he going to go aerial and give everybody what they want and wow the crowd? Because, he's Sammy Guevara and he can do it. But he says, you know what? Fuck the crowd. I'm not going to give you what you want. He jumped off the top rope and delivered a deafening slap right across Paige's face. So that angered Paige. He got right up. Back and forth. Big chops by Paige. Super kick by Sammy. Huge lariat by Paige. Both are down at this point in the match. Big boot. Snap suplex by Paige. On the apron now. Paige sidewalk slams Sammy into the ring apron. Back in the ring. Huge power slam. He picked him up like a fucking rag doll. Power bomb by Paige. 2 count. Sammy rolls to the outside. Paige climbs up top and delivers a beautiful moonsault to Sammy on the outside. Crowd is going crazy. Somewhere Charlotte Flair is just crying because she can't do a moonsault at all. She's awful. Paige was going for the buckshot. Sammy backed away. Slight back and forth. Sammy bounces off the ropes for a move. He thought he had one on Paige, and Paige came and delivered the buckshot. Nearly took Sammy's head off. 1, 2, 3. That is it. After the match, Paige grabs a microphone and short and simple for Adam Hangman Page. He says things haven't been going well for him lately, but tonight felt good. At Full Gear, he is going to do some real cowboy shit. No bleeping here. Some real cowboy shit and take Pac's head off. A huge cowboy shit chant breaks out, and that's the way the promo ends. Very simple, very short and sweet. Page looked great. That was the best the crowd has been towards Adam Page since before All Out. There's no doubt he's impressive. He looked great tonight. This was a very good showcase for him. And it was simple, it was effective, and it worked, very well against a heel who is a genuine heel, and everybody hates him because he is a good heel in Sammy Guevara. And he got the win before his rematch against Pac at Full Gear. He has the potential to be a number 1 guy. He needs more of what happened to him tonight as far as the crowd reaction goes. He has it all. He's got the in-ring ability. He's got the promo work. He's got the look. It just all needs to come together for him at the right time. I just don't know if it's going to be for Adam Page. Hopefully it is, because I'm a fan of his. I want to see him succeed. He's got all the right tools to be exactly what AEW wants him to be. I just don't know if it's going to be for Adam Hangman Page. We'll see. If he can deliver against Pac, he might be on his way there. We had a women's match here that I kind of rolled my eyes at, and then by the end of it, I was like, damn, this was pretty damn good. We had Shanna, who was making her AEW debut. I don't have any backstory on her. I was too lazy to look it up. If you guys want to leave it down in the comments about where she's from and if I should keep an eye on her, then please let me know and let everybody else know. Shanna versus someone in AEW that I think is going to do very well for herself. And I'm more into her than I am into Riho. Hikaru Shida. She looked awesome tonight. Now, Hikaru Shida is AEW's version of what Kairi Sane was before the heel turn and what Asuka was before the heel turn. She's got that look. She's got that ferocity. She's got that intensity. And I think she's going to do very well for herself. For some reason, I don't know what it is. It might be the style. It might be the look. It might be a combination of those things. It might be the offense. It might be the fact that when I watch Hikaru Shida, she's believable. Might be a mixture of all those things, like I said, but I am more invested in her than I am in Riho. And Riho is the women's champion. AEW might be setting up a program or setting up Hikaru Shida at some point to go one-on-one with Riho for the World Championship. I don't know. But I enjoyed what I see here. And I thought this was a very good women's match. At first glance, I didn't think anything of it, and they sold me at the end of it. They traded waist locks. Shanna worked on the left arm, hit a neck breaker. It was a really good neck breaker. It was one of them off-the-rope twisting neck breakers. So Shanna did really well there. She sent Shida outside, teased a dive, but Shida jumped on the apron, cut her off. Then Shida went underneath the ring and grabbed the chair. Now, everybody thought she was going to use the chair on Shanna, but she did not. She set the chair up in the upright position and used it as a catapult or a launch pad. She jumped off the chair after getting some momentum, running at Shanna, and she delivered a jumping knee right to her face, knocked her down. Really nice spot there. Back inside, Shida hit a backbreaker. Shida hit a running knee in the corner, hit some more knee strikes, teased the brain buster. but Shanna blocked it, then pulled Shida into an inside cradle for a very close near fall. We went to commercial. They exchanged hurricanranas. Shanna used an angel's wing for a 2 count. Shanna climbed up to the top rope. Shida cut her off. Shida went for a superplex. Shanna fought her off, hit a double stomp for a 2 count. Shanna tried for another angel's wings, but Shida blocked. Then she hit a spike pile driver. Shanna rolled to the apron. Shida suplexed her back inside the ring, got her near fall. Shanna countered a knee strike, used the cradle for a 2 count. Shida then hit another jumping knee and a Falcon Arrow for a near fall, which I thought was the end of the match. I think this was a botch, because it certainly looked like the end of the match to me, and it didn't look like Shanna kicked out at all from the move, at all, the Falcon Arrow. And then, as an audible, "Stay down, bitch!" She hit a running knee strike, and that was it. 1, 2, 3, and after the end, they were very close to the ropes, and then Hikaru Shida, I love the fact, let's a little attention to detail, she pulled Shanna away from the ropes so that her opponent could not grab the rope to break the pinfall. Those little things matter to me, man. And this was a very good women's match. A great showcase match. Shanna looked good. And Hikaru Shida is obviously someone that AEW is going to put a lot of time and investment into. And I'm sold. I think she looks great. And I can't wait to see what they do from her, or with her, from here on out. I think it's going to be good for her. We have the Rock and Roll Express. They came out to the stage with the AEW Tag Team Championships, and man, they look great. I'll be seeing the Rock and Roll Express in about 2 weeks. They will be at House of Glory in action. Yes, they will be in action, man. I get to call a Rock and Roll Express match. Who the fuck would have thought that in 2019? I can't wait. I think they're going up against our guys, the New York Wrecking Crew, and the main event. So it should be good. Triple threat action. Looking forward to it. Ricky Morton said it was great to be back in West Virginia. Robert Gibson, and by the way, they still look great, and they sound great, too. These guys have more charisma than fucking half of the WWE roster. And look at how old they are. They don't even act their age. They have so much life, and they're full of energy. It's like they found the fucking fountain of youth somewhere. Please, let me know where it is, so when I get to be that age, I know where to go. So Robert Gibson started to cut a promo. He talked about how they beat the Horsemen right here in this very arena, right here in this very city. Santana and Ortiz, as if fucking Rock and Roll Express were about to take some money out of the ATM. They jumped them from behind with socks, loaded socks. I don't know what was in them. Could have been bars of soap, said Excalibur. Does that hurt? I would assume so. Bars of soap, or Jim Ross mentioned there could be stacks of quarters in there, which I know if I was going to use a loaded sock as a weapon, I'd use maybe, I don't know, some type of steel object or quarters or something like that. Something heavy. But they came out with loaded socks, and they beat up both members of the Rock and Roll Express, Morton and Gibson. Then they take, I believe it was Morton, Ricky Morton, they take over to the stage, and they put him in a powerbomb position. Crowd's going crazy. No. And they powerbomb him through the stage. And then the Young Bucks come out and they chase off Santana and Ortiz. Proud and powerful. They're finally calling them. I don't know if it's official, but I think it's semi-official. So the Young Bucks come out, they chase off Santana and Ortiz, and this was a great segment. What was supposed to be... Now, I don't even know why this segment happened, to be honest with you, because not only did this happen, but there was another attack on the Young Bucks later on. They could have saved this for, whatever, the YouTube channel or something, AEW Dark, and they could have added more time to the tag team title match at the end of the show. I don't see why this was necessary. Yes, it did get heat on the former LAX, and I think it was a great job anyway, but just looking at things that they could have cut from the show to give more time to that tag team title match, this could have been cut. Because you did this, and then you attacked the Bucks later on in the evening. I get it. You want to build to their match at Full Gear, but you don't need to overload the show with too much. You could take away some here and there. And this could have been one of those things that really didn't need to be on the show. So the Young Bucks come out, they chase them off after Ricky Morton goes through the stage there inside the arena. So that was pretty good. Awesome spot. And again, they're 60 plus years old and they're taking power bombs. No matter if it's gimmicked or not. Let me see you take a fucking power bomb. Whether it's gimmicked or not, they took a power bomb through the stage and I thought it was awesome. Best Friends and Orange Cassidy versus John Silver, Alex Reynolds, and QT Marshall. I did not care for this match at all because I knew this was nothing more than comedy garbage. Now, Rick and Morty, not a big fan of the TV show at all. I find it painfully unfunny, and I was never a big Rick and Morty guy. Rick and Morty were the announcers for this match, or the ring announcers for this match, for the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. And obviously this was the whole Halloween-themed part of the show. So the only thing of interest here was when Orange Cassidy was in the ring. Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor were dressed as Rick, and Trent was dressed as Morty. Trent lost his wig at one point, which allowed the other guys, I believe it was John Silver, to get heat. And then Orange Cassidy was in the ring with QT Marshall. So QT Marshall was talking trash to Orange Cassidy. Crowd was eating this up so good. QT Marshall is in the ring. He's talking trash to Orange Cassidy. And he does his trademark signature, quote-unquote, kicks. And then the big super kick at the end. And then after all this was over, the other team were on the outside. And Orange Cassidy, he was knocked down. I believe he was knocked down to the floor. He did a kip-up of some sorts, I believe. He did a kip-up, and his glasses fell off. The referee picks up his glasses. He's got his hands in his pockets. He's looking at the hard camera. From behind, the referee puts his sunglasses on, all discombobulated. He runs the ropes. He does a tope suicida with his hands in his pockets through the ropes on John Silver and the rest of his team. I don't know what it is, man. I know I'm going to get slack for it. But when Orange Cassidy does his little super kick shtick and the glasses come off, the referee put his glasses back on and he does a tope through the ropes with his hands in his pockets and it looks fucking better than a Seth Rollins tope suicida normal, I can't help but laugh. And I mean that in the most positive way. I think this is great. I don't know how you can hate Orange Cassidy if you're a modern fan of pro wrestling. He's over. And the crowd loves it. And the crowd, everybody in that arena was eating out of Orange Cassidy's fucking hands. And if the crowd is going to react like that, then I'm going to buy into it. Because I think it's funny. And you know what? The one thing I appreciate out of all of what he does is that it's original. And the guy could actually wrestle. If you guys actually take the fucking time out of your day and go watch something on YouTube from him, you'll find that he can actually wrestle. I was live at an Evolve show and actually watched him wrestle. So I know what he's capable of. The fact that he's just doing this, it brings a smile to my face. Fucking sue me. Sue me. So, the Best Friends win here. Trent pins Silver after Taylor and Trent hit strong zero. Comedy garbage that reminded me of something on Monday Night Raw. Something reminiscent. This year we didn't have the OC wearing fucking pumpkin masks and swinging fucking candy cane, whatever, kendo sticks. Or, candy corn kendo sticks. Dumping someone's head into a fucking bucket of apples or throwing pumpkin innards on somebody. At least we didn't see that. It was still very reminiscent of what I see on Monday Night Raw. But we had Orange Cassidy do his thing, and that's all right by me. Chris Jericho and Cody's contract signing. Folks, I love this. I loved everything about this. Now, the one thing that I immediately noticed is the fact that they got the table set up on the stage. The one thing about contract signings, everywhere you look, no matter what promotion you're in, is that they're all very similar. They're all done in the same manner. They're all done in the ring with someone overseeing it. At the end of it, there's a possible handshake, or if it's enough of a volatile situation, tables are broken and podiums are broken, whatever. It's the same shit. WWE does it every single fucking time. It's goddamn nauseating. It's nauseating. AEW already gave you a different feel by having their contract signing set up, on the stage. And by the way, the two tunnels are already set up for their stage. You had Jericho come out the heel tunnel. You had Cody come out the babyface tunnel. And it just looks, presentation-wise, fantastic. On top of that, you got someone who made up the contract sitting right there. Their contracts look legit. Unlike WWE's, I'm sure some fucking goon in Stamford, Connecticut printed some words on a paper with a big WWE logo stamped on top of it. You don't know anything. You don't know anything. It probably says nothing. It says gibberish. At least on this, when I looked at it, certain things are highlighted. You've seen everything on the fucking paper. Someone who made up the actual contract, who I seen in Cody's Road 2 videos, sat there. And then on top of all that, you got Cody, you got Jericho, you got the one who made up the contract, you got Tony Schiavone standing there. This long-ass table. And then in the background, you got, on the big screen, you got the huge TNT logo staring you right in the face. Folks, this was brilliant. Every little detail I picked out. Every little thing, attention to detail. I loved it. This is how contract signings need to be. Jericho was wearing a blazer with pumpkins all over it. That was the color purple. Absolutely fantastic. He was by far the best dressed person in the entire building. He no-sold Cody during his entrance, which was equally fantastic because he sat there, slumped, and he was not giving a shit about Cody as he had pumpkins on his blazer. Someone asked Jericho where he got that blazer. I'd love to wear that this Halloween, or next Halloween, because it's going to be too late. Now, AEW on commentary said it's customary for the challenger to sign the contract first. Really? I didn't know. I didn't know it was in the rules, or it was in the bylaw for the challenger to sign the contract first. I would have never known that unless I heard them say it. On WWE, they failed to mention shit like that. So I love the fact that that was mentioned because I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Cody signs it. Jericho is then handed the contract. He looked it over. Jericho still no-sold it. He looked over at the contract and he teased throwing the table over after he signed it. He started laughing at Cody. He said, "This match is too important." Crowd started to chant, "You suck," at Jericho before he can continue his promo here. "You suck," at Jericho. He then said to the crowd, "Go ahead, you can chant it all night. I don't care." Biggest match of AEW. Biggest match all year. Biggest match of Cody's life. Said if he wins, he will finally be what he's always wanted to be, a world champion for a major promotion. If he loses, it proves that Cody isn't as good as he thinks he is. So he signs the contract, and he says he will teach Cody a lesson in how to be a loser. I laughed, because I thought that was a very funny line. So the crowd is obviously getting rowdy at this point towards Chris Jericho, because why the fuck not? He then tells the fans to come down, hillbillies in West Virginia. I laughed. I loved it. So obviously he called them hillbillies, and in return the crowd called him an asshole. So chance of asshole. Jericho extends his hand in respect, and Cody actually shakes it, but he pulls Jericho close. All of a sudden we see Sammy Guevara on the big screen, and Jake Hager is beating Dustin Rhodes up. Now Dustin came out of the plane with Cody, and they rode together in the limousine to the arena. It was Schiavone and Cody, and I'm assuming that Dustin was also in the limousine, because why not? Because the story here is that Tony is very close with the Rhodes family. So Jake Hager is beating Dustin up. Hager slams Rhodes into the trunk of the car and knees him below the belt twice. And then all of a sudden you see Jake Hager slam the car door on Dustin's arm, which looked brutal. He's writhing in pain. His suit is all wet from what I think was a rainy night in West Virginia. It looked brutal. So Cody arrives with his team. MJF is there, and officials are there stopping the beating. Chris Jericho arrives after this because obviously he signed the contract. This was all set up by him anyway. He leaves the contract area. We then see him on the Titantron, or the screen, I should say. The big screen, Titantron, whatever. We see him on the screen, and we see him there at the scene of the crime, and he's smoking a cigar. He's lighting up a cigar, smoking it, and he tells Cody, "Hey, Cody, your brother seems hurt. Maybe you should take him to a hospital." And then he gets in the limousine, and him and the Inner Circle all drive away. Or at least him, Sammy, and Jake Hager. Folks, this was absolutely brilliant. This was TV gold. This was the best contract signing of 2019. You know, I seen the likes of Baron Corbin make themselves look like fools on social media because every time WWE would make a part-timer or a Goldberg or a Lesnar or somebody who's not there actively every single week, or someone old, a world champion, you know, they would get shit on. Oh, but when AEW makes Chris Jericho, who's 48 years old and is as old as anybody, their world champion, it goes and gets swept under the rug. This is what people say. Oh, you don't call AEW out for having Chris Jericho, who's almost 50, as their world champion. Why didn't you put the title on someone younger, man? Now you see why. Now you see why. Would anybody else on that active roster get this segment over the way it was outside of Chris Jericho? No. Has anybody else brought a level of prestige and desire to watch the main event in AEW? Has anybody else done that outside of Chris Jericho? No. Chris Jericho has sold his match with Paige. Chris Jericho has sold his match with Cody. Chris Jericho has made both of his world championship matches, even with Darby Allin, must-watch matches. And he's going to continue to do that for as long as he's world champion. This is the reason why they gave him the world championship. Without Jericho, this type of segment doesn't happen. So the next time someone wants to come to me and tell me, why don't I zing, AEW on that aspect, but you shit all over WWE, Jericho is a world champion. Jericho is one of the greatest to ever do it. Jericho is one of the greatest on the microphone to ever do it. Jericho is cool. Jericho brings prestige to the world championship. Jericho makes the main event must-see. I can't say that about anybody in WWE as far as world champions go. Now you know why. Next time, I want you to think long and hard about what you say next when it comes to AEW giving their world championship to a 50-year-old Chris Jericho. Because from what I see, it was nothing more than a brilliant move. So cut the shit. Grow up, learn something for once, and apply that when you talk to me and everybody else that has fucking common sense. This was awesome. Moving on here, man. Angelico, Jack Evans, and Kip Sabian versus the Elite. This was Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. The Elite came out dressed as video game characters. We seen on the big screen what was some sort of RPG or some sort of old school 8-bit video game. It brought me back to my childhood, man. I'm like, what am I watching here? I'd rather watch this than 3 hours of Monday Night Raw. A big boss text back and forth between the boss and whoever the supporting characters were in this video game. Some 8-bit old school text. I was like, what is this? This is great. It made me want to pick up my fucking Game Boy. So we seen this, and then Kenny Omega comes out, I should say, dressed as a character from what I think the video game was Undertale. Now, I looked it up, and it's an old school role-playing game developed by an indie company. So I'm not surprised that Kenny Omega is supporting something like that because he's into that type of shit. So Kenny Omega came dressed as the Undertale villain, I think. And the Bucks came out dressed as Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter. I was always a Ryu guy. My brother was always a Ken Masters guy. So, nobody does it better than the Young Bucks. I think they looked near perfect dressed in Street Fighter gear. Sabian and the Hybrid. This is Jack Evans and Angelico. They attacked the Elite at the opening bell, sending the Bucks to the floor. Omega made a comeback with a basement dropkick and a double Kataro crusher on Evans and Angelico. Evans was all over the place tonight, man. He was a house on fire, was Jack Evans. I was a fan of his dating back to his shit in Lucha Underground, and he was awesome then. I'm glad to see them still in the thick of things here as far as tag teams go in AEW. They haven't won a match, but they're still great nonetheless. Evans hits a Sasuke special and a springboard foot stomp. Sabian cut off Omega. Bucks recovered just in time. Matt tagged in. He was cut off. He tried for a hot tag, but all three heels cut him off in the ring and isolated him in their portion of the ring. Honestly, quality tag team wrestling. Quick tags, they worked them over. We go to commercial. Bucks are running wild. They hit a tandem moonsault springboard splash on Sabian for 2 count. Omega and Jack Evans got hot tags. Omega hit a Snapdragon suplex on Sabian, Evans, and Angelico. So Omega was also a house on fire as well. Omega missed a V-trigger attempt on Evans. The match broke down. Everyone hit a huge move. I was just not even bothering taking notes at this point. It's just too crazy to call, too crazy to type. All I wanted to do was watch. Evans hit a springboard moonsault off Matt's back to Nick on the floor, which was very nice. Omega hit a V-trigger on Angelico. Sabian tried for a tope, but all three of the Elite caught him and then powerbombed him on the apron. Omega was going to go for his Rise of the Terminator, but he was stopped, so Kip Sabian tried to do the same thing, and he got caught. Like I said, powerbomb on the apron. The Elite hit tandem super kicks on Evans. Omega hit a V-trigger, then hit Evans with the one-wing angel for the win, and that was it. Very, very good six-man tag. Really fun to watch. The Bucks were celebrating. The Bucks were celebrating with Omega. They go over to the fans in the front row who are wearing Rick and Morty masks at ringside, and they were attacked by Rick and Morty. The fans unmasked themselves to reveal that they were Santana and Ortiz. They pulled the Bucks over the barricade, attacked them. Omega made the save, and Santana Ortiz ran for safety and ran out of dodge, man. So not only did they attack the Rock and Roll Express, but they got one up on the Young Bucks as well. So Santana and Ortiz, they're clearly building towards that match. We got the go-home show next week. I'm sure that they'll do more next week. So it was a nice build for what I think is going to be the match of the night between the former LIX, Proud and Powerful, Santana and Ortiz, and the Young Bucks at Full Gear. This was a fun tag team match here on Dynamite. Quickly, guys, just make sure you guys are aware everything that happens on this channel, everything from the thumbnails to the layouts, is all because of my boy Salrex. Make sure you guys give him a shout out on social media. And if you guys need any type of work done, layouts, thumbnails, logos, banners, album covers, mixtape covers, t-shirt designs, YouTube channel revamps, he is your man. It's only a DM away, SRXGFX. Make sure you guys follow him on Twitter. And he says, I'd like to say thank you to everybody, to everyone who has reached out so far in need of my services. OTS and I wish you the very best in your personal projects. Remember to be true, real, and original. Again, SRXGFX on Twitter. Hit him up if you guys need anything, or if you guys need to make your channel or your videos or your new album, your new EP look as good as it should. Salrex is your boy. Hit him up, and I want to thank him for all his hard work and making what I do here look the best it's ever been, man. So after Santana and Ortiz attacked the Elite, we got the Librarians, Peter Avalon and Leva Bates coming on out. I'm rolling my eyes at this point. I'm like, please, get off my TV. Please, get off my TV. They head out to the ring. Avalon's got a microphone, and he starts to shush the crowd. Shh. Monday Night Raw sucks. Shh. He didn't say that, but he should have. Would have got a pop in the crowd. He says it's Halloween time, and it's an appropriate time for the hideous monsters in the crowd to look like they do. Avalon says it makes sense why wrestling hasn't been here in 20 years because it's rotten. Moxley then storms to the ring, and we all knew Avalon was in trouble at this point. He ignores everybody. He's in jeans. He's in jeans and a fucking Moxley jacket. Wow, what a concept! He's not booked on the show to wrestle. Why the fuck would he be in his wrestling gear? Moxley comes out wearing street clothes. He gets in the ring, and I seen Jake the Snake smiling from somewhere. Wherever he is, if he was watching, Don't know if he was. Seen Jake the Snake smiling from wherever he is right now because the DDT that he delivered on Avalon was a thing of beauty. Swift, quick, devastating. Reminded me of a old school Jake the Snake DDT. So he hit the DDT, the Death Rider, kicked him out of the ring. Moxley took the microphone, and this is what we wanted for 5 weeks. Jon Moxley with a live microphone on this show. Gets on the microphone, talks about Full Gear, which is now an unsanctioned match. No time limits, no DQs, no rules. AEW wants nothing to do with it, which means that the match does not even count. There's no winner and there's no loser. It's not on their watch. Moxley says when he beats Omega, and it will happen, are they just going to pretend like it never happened? What did we watch? Moxley feels like AEW is trying to treat him like a freak and keep him in a little box. Moxley says these guys in suits always coming up to him. John, we know you're a different type of cat. He says, I know what that means, and it doesn't mean anything good. It's an insult. Moxley says if this is how it's going to be, I'm going to tell AEW to shove their win-loss record up their ass. So Moxley then goes on to say he will beat Omega within an inch of his life. And he tells AEW in all his suits in the back to kiss his ass and stay out of his way. Now I watched this, and I watched the intensity, and I love the intensity that Moxley has, and I watched him parade around the ring as a madman, as a lunatic. Then I think back to what WWE did to him. They portrayed him as the lunatic fringe, whatever the fuck that means. I looked at Jon Moxley here tonight and I thought back to what Dean Ambrose was for the WWE for 6+ years. And I look at all the shit that they gave him to do. From all the bullshit in the Shield that he played nothing more than a supporting role to both Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. He was always looked at as the third man in the Shield. It was always Roman and then Seth and then Dean. Dean was always the outsider. He was always in the shadow. He never had an opportunity to break out on his own. And when he did break out on his own, WWE didn't really go all the way. He was just Dean Ambrose. He was WWE's Cal Ripken Jr. He was the Iron Man of WWE. I look at Dean Ambrose, and I look at Jon Moxley here, and the sheer differences between what we've seen on both shows, here tonight and then what he did in WWE, and it's not even fucking comparable. It's not even of this earth, honestly. It's downright sad. Jon Moxley, here on this show, is the version that we should have got in WWE. We, during all that time being invested in who he was, that should have been the character that WWE portrayed to their audience. From what we heard from him here tonight, just based on this promo, this is what he should have been in WWE. That is what he deserved to be in WWE. I don't know why they didn't do it. Why didn't they do it? Would it have been a lot more popular than Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins? Is that why you didn't do it? Would he have been a bigger star than both Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, who are two company pretty boys? Is that the reason? Now I see why they didn't do it. Because this is the best Jon Moxley has ever looked. And this is exactly what he needed to get across. This. He's in AEW. He's in a match with the best wrestler in the world. And he has 0 fucks to give. This is the intensity. Do you think that man was scripted when he went out there tonight? Absolutely not. You don't script a man like that. Again, I ask, a lunatic fringe. What the fuck is that? Is a lunatic in WWE's eyes someone that goes out there and names a potted plant Mitch? Is a lunatic someone who dresses as a fucking villain from a Batman movie that was 7 years ago? Wearing gold chains, wearing fucking gas masks, and taking needles up the ass because the crowd is filthy? Is that what a lunatic is to WWE? Or is this the lunatic fringe? Because what I seen here tonight is the version of the character that we should have been blessed with in WWE. And now you know what? It's their fucking loss. Because they didn't follow what this man and his vision wanted. Now it's their loss, and now they don't have Jon Moxley in the WWE, and fuck them. Now you're stuck with somebody in Seth Rollins who's fucking so uncool and so garbage as world champion. And Jon Moxley is living his best life right now. This was awesome. How you can fuck that up. He took one promo and made you realize that the last 6 years of Jon Moxley's career, character-wise, I'm not saying that it was a complete waste, because without them, he wouldn't be here and he wouldn't be the man he is today. He wouldn't be as over as he is today without the WWE. I get it. But as far as creativity goes, that's what I'm ranting about here. Creative. The last 6 years of creative were just shit on in about 5 minutes. This is what we needed in WWE, and now it's their loss. So fuck them. Moving on. I can't wait for the Omega match with Moxley, and I think it's going to be awesome. SCU, Lucha Brothers, Tag Team Championships, the finals of the AEW World Tag Team Championship Tournament. Private Party is sitting at ringside. They're sipping on what looked to be vodka over ice, or vodka on the rocks. Don't know what it was. Maybe I should ask them next time. What are you guys usually drinking when you stand in the front row? The Dark Order watching backstage, and we got Evil Uno sitting on his circus of clowns. So they're backstage. I like the fact that they got some of the better tag teams in AEW watching this, because it brings importance to the overall division. Kazarian and Pentagon get things started. They go at each other with punches and chops. Pentagon is selling to the crowd, doing his usual shtick. So we go from Kazarian to Sky, and they start attacking Sky. Phoenix does anyway. Pump handle driver on Kazarian by Pentagon on the outside. Phoenix and Sky battle away. Pentagon looks for a pile driver. Sky runs into the ring and wrestles Pentagon. Sling blade on Sky by Pentagon. Kazarian eats an elbow by Pentagon. Phoenix runs the top rope. He literally runs the top rope and delivers a fucking punt kick into Kazarian's face. I don't know. Phoenix is amazing. So Pentagon is the legal man at this point, because Phoenix gives no fucks, and he rolls him up for a 2 count. Phoenix then tags in. Crowd is pretty split for both these teams. We got the Lucha Brothers 50-50 with SCU. Pentagon look to kick Kazarian, catches Phoenix instead off a springboard leg drop. Kazarian with a guillotine leg on Pentagon, sends him to the floor. Sky with a Hurricanrana off the steps on Pentagon. Back in the ring, release German suplex on Phoenix, only a 2 count. Phoenix gouges Sky's eyes. Phoenix runs up the ropes with Kazarian's arm. Sky throws a punch. Phoenix leaps over it, stays on the ropes, and then hits a twisting arm drag on Kazarian. I did it no justice. I'm reading through this because I want to get this fucking podcast over with. But, again, Phoenix is fucking mesmerizing. I don't even know. Crowd's going crazy. Commentary selling it like he's the best thing on the fucking planet. Pentagon on the floor, drops both opponents, both Kazarian and Sky. Pentagon bends Kazarian over his knee on the outside. He's got him in like a backbreaker position. And Phoenix with a springboard leg drop over the top rope onto Frankie Kazarian. And again, I don't know. Now, I feel like Phoenix took more damage on that than he did to Frankie Kazarian. So we're back in the ring. Phoenix working over Kazarian. It's finally slowing down, because this match was fucking 180 miles to start the match as the bell rang. So we finally start to slow things down. Finally. Phoenix working over Kazarian, keeping him on the wrong side of the ring. Kazarian tries to fight back. Hits Angel's Wing, slowly makes his way over to tag Sky. Clotheslines on both opponents. Diving back elbow, dropkick on Pentagon from Sky. He ends up on the apron, springboard, Hurricanrana, sending Pentagon outside. Elbows to Phoenix. Sky with a kip up, and he takes Pentagon down to the floor. Phoenix lands a dropkick through the ropes on Sky. Kazarian tries for Hurricanrana off the top rope to send Phoenix off the apron, but end up hitting his own head on the apron. So we get back into the ring, assisted swinging DDT on Pentagon. Sky with a beautiful twisting Hurricanrana on Phoenix, only a 2 count. So everyone is in the ring right now, and I just felt rushed at this point. Pentagon with a springboard Canadian Destroyer on Kazarian. Phoenix with a big cutter on Sky, 2 count. Both Phoenix and Sky crossbody each other. Pentagon power. By the way, that crossbody came with about 3 minutes left in the match. That's something that you kind of do a little bit earlier on, but I knew they were pressed for time, and I started to get a little bit antsy at this point. So Pentagon powers Kazarian through the Timekeeper's table on the outside. I thought this was it. I thought the Lucha Brothers were going to win the tag team titles. Sky eats a super kick by Pentagon. Phoenix leaps up on Pentagon's shoulders and splashes down on Sky for a 2 count. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. To see Phoenix standing on Pentagon's shoulders and dives off of Pentagon onto Sky for a big splash. Phoenix then heads to the top rope for their Mexican Destroyer double stomp finisher. Sky with an inside cradle on Pentagon, pins Pentagon, and SCU become the first ever AEW World Tag Team Champions. Time management, folks. Time management. It needs to be a thing. This is now 5 weeks in a row where they've gotten it wrong. Something on that show didn't belong. Especially with this tag team title match, the finals of your tournament, closing the show. We all knew it was going to close the show. Unless these two teams are going to have a rematch at the pay-per-view, I don't know what's going to happen. Because I feel robbed. I really do. You know, you invest in this tournament. I bragged about this tournament. I had this tournament. And then, I'm not saying the Private Party Lucha Brothers match was a flop. I just think that it could have been done a lot better. I'm not going to say this match was a flop, but it could have certainly been a lot better. And by a lot better, I mean with the proper time management. I don't think the Rock and Roll Express needed to take a power bomb by Santana and Ortiz. Yeah, it looked great. Yeah, it got Santana and Ortiz over as dominant heels going into that match with the Young Bucks. But you couldn't find a way to do that somewhere else? Maybe on YouTube? On AEW Dark? I don't know. That could have been a segment for AEW Dark. Honestly. It would have felt the same. It would have felt the same. And you could have given 7-8 more minutes to these guys to have them tear it down in the main event of Dynamite for the tag team titles to crown first ever tag team champions. Instead, we felt rushed, and an audible most certainly was called in that moment. Again, just like the Private Party match with the Lucha Brothers, they fit a 25-minute classic into about 12 minutes, and they did the same thing here. It comes off as rushed and sloppy, and both teams are better than that. Both teams are better than that. At one point, I was even asking myself, they should have just saved this match for the pay-per-view. But I understand that TV is probably going to be a little bit more important than pay-per-view. But again, I was even thinking, who the fuck is watching tonight anyway with Game 7 of the World Series happening? Both shows are going to be down significantly because of that. So why even bother doing it tonight? Should have saved it for the pay-per-view. That's what I was thinking. But I'm guessing that both of these teams, because Pentagon was uttering something to Aubrey Edwards. I don't know what happened. I don't know. Maybe an excuse is going to be brought to the table. Maybe these two teams go at it again and they're given that extra time to really tear the house down at Full Gear. I don't know. But I do feel slightly disappointed in the finals of the tournament. SCU is your tag team champions. And by the way, before anybody starts fucking complaining, oh, look, the Bucks and the Elite gave their friends the tag team titles. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, they're on being the Elite. Fine. But SCU have been doing this for how long? Now they're in a major promotion on national television. Let them get some exposure. The Lucha Brothers are so young and they're so fucking out there, and everybody utters them as one of the best tag teams in the world. Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels are very, very old. For pro wrestling, they're still great, but, you know, what they're doing at their age is not really done by a lot of people. It's rather unheard of, the fact that they're still competing at the level that they're competing. How much longer are they going to be around doing what they're doing? The Lucha Brothers have a whole well, not at the rate that they're going with the shit that they do, but realistically, they have a whole career ahead of them. So SCU winning the tag team championships, I don't mind it. I thought the Lucha Brothers were going to win, but SCU being the tag team champions, you know, anybody was going to complain anyway. You were going to complain anyway. If the Bucks won it, you would have complained. If Kenny Omega is the world champion, you would have complained. If Cody is the world champion, you would have complained. I'd rather SCU get the championships, or be a champion, being that they're on the show and, you know, they're featured and they're a part of this brand as ambassadors. I'd rather them do it than put the executive vice presidents in that spotlight. At least they're not executive vice presidents, so it's okay for them to be tag team champions. I'm okay with it. The match could have been better. I was slightly disappointed. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Thank you so very much for all your support on the podcast. If you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up. Make sure you guys follow me on social media at JD from NY206 on both Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Make sure you guys go and check out all the other videos. If you missed anything on the channel, it's all for you in the description. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Make sure you guys follow Sal Rex if you guys need anything at all. And he's great at what he does, obviously. You guys see the work that he does here for me. So make sure you guys hit him up on Twitter if you guys need anything for anything, really. Albums, YouTube, layouts, thumbnails, whatever. He's got you. He's got you. So make sure you guys hit him up. And I will see you guys right back here for NXT. I don't know when it's going up because I got fucking Crown Fools tomorrow. So at some point in the early morning, I'll watch, I'll record, I'll upload, and then I gotta go right to fucking watch Crown Jewel, which I'm not looking forward to at all, because I really don't give a shit, and I have zero interest in anything that they're doing. Even the Universal title with The Fiend, I have zero interest in anything that they're trying to do. So we'll see what happens. I'll be back here tomorrow. It's going to be a busy day. Don't go nowhere. More content yet to come on the channel. Have a great night, guys, and I will see you right back here for Crown Fools tomorrow afternoon.